Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that. Are we going now? Are we going now? We're going now. We're going now. Okay. I like that. Y'all like that beat? I'm asking you guys like you guys know. That's a good beat, Wyatt. Thanks, man. I mean, seriously, you're getting better. We're getting better at knowing what we know. You know, we're knowing each other now. It's like a typical relationship. It's like we know each other now. We're getting to know each other better now. Like, you know what kind of music I like and everything. So isn't that cool? Don't you think so? I think it's great. Anyway, hey, it's BT. Welcome to Tales from a Gemini. And man, first of all, thank you everybody for just the words of encouragement and just everything. Sometimes you don't know how it's going over, whatever, and I get people on the DM hit me on my DM, and they tell me, you know, all these things, and it keeps me going, man. And that's what you need in life, to get that pat on the back and say, like the song said, rub me on my back and say, baby, it'll be okay. And that's what I feel, and that's what I appreciate for all you guys doing that to me. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate that. My guest today, I cannot wait to interview this guy. This guy, I knew him, I want to say when he was a kid, but he's only 19 and he's kicking. He's owning it. This dude, you guys should link up, Wyatt, because this guy is a year older than you, and he has the world in his palm, like right here. The world is in his palm. Seriously, he's got everything, just like you. He's got everything, bro. I mean, I don't know your financial situation, but he's got pretty much everything. I mean, like right now, he's about to own the world, bro, and he's not even 20 yet. You're 18, he's 19, and both of you guys are killing it. You're 19? Oh, well, excuse me, man. You got to do me like that in front of my audience, in front of my listening audience. Just going, he goes, I'm 19. Okay, whatever, Wyatt. I mean, just be that way, bro. But no, you guys both are killing it. Can't wait for him to click in. I just hit him up, so I hope he hits me back. He hit me up this morning, and I saw him typing, and I thought, oh, man, he's going to cancel. That's my biggest fear. You know, the day you have a guest on, and they cancel at the last minute, and I saw, I go, oh, no. He just goes, hell, from what I asked him last night early, and he came in with, hell yeah, bro, I can't wait. What time are we going to jump in before we start recording? So I just hit him up. So he should be hitting me up in the next 2 minutes. And my guest, like I said, I always wait till they click in, but it's Sean Dylan Kelly. He's in the Super Sports Series in MotoAmerica, and what he's accomplished and what he's on the precipice right now. When I say he's about to own the world, rule the world, I'm not even exaggerating. This guy has everything, man. He's got the looks. He's got the smarts, and he's got to know how to win. He's got he's got a great family. All the ingredients to make a burrito of success is what he has. Hey, what's up, man? And so that's why I can't wait for him. I hope he clicks in. He didn't respond back, but I hope he clicks in. We got one more minute. If not, you and me, I can talk. I can talk this through. But I don't think the time should be going though. I mean, because I didn't even interview him. I mean, even though it's just me, you know. I don't think the time should be going. Anyway, oh, here we go. He's typing in. Oh, this is the great yes. Oh, here we go. All right. I'm going to say we're ready. I can't wait. This never gets old. When I see this thing on the screen comes in, this is my favorite part. It never gets old. It's kind of like I said, pizza on a Friday night. It's like when your girlfriend comes out of the shower and she's looking good, she smells good. That never gets old, does it? I'm asking you why. You got a girlfriend? No, I don't. It doesn't get old? You don't have a girlfriend no more? No, I told you that we broke up. Oh, no, you didn't. What happened? No, you didn't. What happened? I told you this like 5 times. I wasn't listening. What happened? We went to college. Oh, and she left you? No, it was mutual. Oh, man, you were sick of her? No. Oh, it was just one of the things that wasn't working at the time? Yeah, it just wasn't going to work, but I do like pizza on a Friday night. Nah. He hadn't clicked yet? No. Okay, hold on a second. We're ready. Okay. I said we're ready. Okay. I'm going to say just click it. I feel like an idiot. Just click it. Then he sees me cussing him out. Just click it, dummy. I'm saying all these nice things about him. Now I'm like, just click it, dummy. Come on, SDK. We had his coach on last week. That episode is going to drop. It's going to drop tonight. The one with Michael Torres, and he was the one, the military guy. He was his coach, and he's great. It's just his answers were so well thought out, very well planned, and that really. Hello, How you doing? And it made me just like, here he goes. He's coming in. Oh, that's my favorite. Oh, Gabrielle. Hey, what's up? Hey, can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you and I can see you.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Good, BT. How are you?
I'm doing great. Ladies and gentlemen, I saved the intro before you came on. And like I said, this guy has everything. He's the Hollywood heartthrob, the heartthrob of Hollywood. This man has the world in his palm of his hands. And I'm not even just saying this to say this, dude. You are this close to owning everything, bro, because you are so money. Mr. Sean Dillon Kelly. What's up, bro? How you doing today, man?
Thank you, BT. Good. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No, man, thank you. You know, I knew it was going to be cool because, you know, I went back. I was thinking about when we first met. And I think it was the Red Bull Rookies Cup. It had to be. I knew that. But I don't know where. It was over in Europe somewhere. And I just remember going, this kid has it. And you know it when you see it because you got the $1 million smile, but behind that is so much talent. And I remember just rooting for you every week because nobody watches Red Bull Rookies Cup like I do. I'm a dork. I watch every race there is, man. And I just remember watching you and rooting for you. And I mean, man, what you did over there was incredible. And I remember, I think the best you did, was a top 6 in Assen. And I remember that race, and then you come over here and you kick ass. And the thing, when I tell people all the time, I go, that's how great the World Red Bull Rookies Cup is that you, like I said, best finish with a top 6. And that talent pool over there is, I mean, it's steep. And you come over here and you just, you annihilate people. He's the youngest rider. You're the youngest rider. I'm saying this from my producer is the same age you are. You guys are the same. You guys are synonymous. You both are kicking ass as teenagers. And I told him, I said, this guy is just like you. He's 19, and he's killing. You came over here, and the most prestigious race in America was the Daytona 200. This guy right here, 70 years. This race is almost 80 years old. This guy right here, you're looking at, look at him, Wyatt. This guy right here holds the record in the history of that race for a pole position. He, what, 18 you did, or 16? How old were you?
I was 16 when I did that pole position.
16 years old, an 80-year-old race that is the most prestigious race in America, Wyatt. And this guy at 16 comes over and kicks it in the ass. Dude, I was looking at your resume. I'm going, this guy has it all. And I mean that, Sean. Do you even realize that?
Thank you, BT. I honestly, it's been, like you say, you know, we met when I was in the Rookies Cup, and that was quite the story. You know, I mean, I have you know, a lot to talk about in terms of that, and you know how we even got there, how my family, everything we had to go through for that. But for sure, just, you know, everything I learned being in that championship, everything I learned not only as a racer but also as a person, you know, being in GP, you know how the paddock is there. It's really special. So
yes.
Now to have been able to come back here in the States and race in 2019 and now 2020 has been really, really special for me, and it's definitely, revives my career, because at the end of 2018, I had some doubts of what was going to happen for me. But honestly, it's been pretty good the last couple of years, and I'm really happy about that.
Wow, we'll get into that. And what I wanted to say, the funny thing about it, I hit your buddy up, and he goes, ask him about his long hair. How come he don't have his long hair anymore? And he said, ask him about. He goes, ask him about when you guys raced in mini nationals, and you know who I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what happened to the long hair, man? I'm looking at the old clips, and you had a mane. It was, don't get me wrong, it was nice. It was nice, but you had a mane. What happened? You went all corporate on me.
Honestly, what happened is that I had that same fit for like 13 years, you know? So I was, you know, from 0 years old to 13, it's quite the experience. And I honestly, I just got tired of it. And the reason is, so I really ran that because my parents are Argentinian. Both of them are from Argentina. So that's a very typical thing to run long hair over there. So obviously up to 13 years old, they were the ones doing my haircuts. They were the one in charge, you know. And when I was 13, I was just going to get a normal haircut from one to the other. And I went up. I remember I was sitting at the salon, at the barber, and my mom was there next to me. I think I had just turned 13, something like that. And I look at my mom. I'm like, Mom, I want to cut my hair off. Like, I want to get short hair. And this is the first time ever that she didn't completely freak out on me and say no. She looked at me and she said, you know what? Do whatever you want. I'm like, Did you really just say that? Like, are you sure you just let me, like, you're gonna let me cut all of this off? And she was like, do whatever you want. It's your hair. You're old enough already. I'm like, all right, let's go. And honestly, I'm definitely glad I did it because I look back at some pictures of when I was like 13 years old, and I was at my face, man. I had glasses. I still can't see well. I wear contacts now. I had glasses, I had braces, and I had long hair. So I'm like, what were you doing, Sean?
No, you were still killing. Don't give me that. Because you know what? If you had the long hair now, do you know how girls would go crazy? You could be the next Fabio, the butter guy, not Fabio Quartararo, the butter guy. You take your helmet off and you do that flip that black guys wish we could do, but we don't unless we like a Jerry curl. But you know that flip that just kind of like you take your helmet off and you go, yes, I'm Sean Dillon Kelly. I'm the MotoAmerica champion. If you did that, man, dude.
Well, hey, that's what I mean. I have something now. I have something to be able to do the whip with.
No, you need the long hair, and so you can take your helmet off and just do that and do that move right there, kind of like a rock star in the '80s, kind of like, yeah, dude, the bike was performing real well, and I just knew it.
I might grow it out one day. Hair is hair, so I might get a little motivated and leave it through the shoulders. But I don't know. For now, I'm happy.
Okay, as long as you're happy, man, that's great. As long as you're happy, that's great. I had to tease you on that. But in real life, though, honestly, what got me in the fields was I was looking at all my research on you last night, looking through the videos and everything. And what really touched me deeply is that when I interview guys, I interviewed Christian Daniel, who's over in Europe right now trying to kill it in Moto2, and I interviewed Tanya Mazunda from Africa. She's racing, motocross over here now. She's from Africa. And what always sticks to me is the parents, man. When the parents, when they give you that unconditional love, like, hey, you're our kid, whatever you want to, we're with you. And what got me was the video, and I don't know how old you were, but you had the long hair, but I forget what racetrack you guys were at. And man, your dad got the bike for you. He started it for you. You could barely you were tippy-toeing. And man, I just remember him going, hey, love you. And you got on the bike and you look back, and I think you said it too, and got on the track. And I was like, and that just got me, man, because I watch all your races and you come into the pits and your circle is a circle of love. It's your family, and it's Mike. And I interviewed Michael a couple weeks ago, and I just love the love you have for your people and your circle. Tell me about your parents, because they didn't race. Yeah, and they had no aspirations of racing, and it happened. They took you to a go-kart track, and that's where your love came in. But tell me about how just the love and how they supported you during the racing, man. That's what gets me.
Yeah, it's really special, and it's 100% the reason why I'm here. It's completely mom and dad, and it's one already special to begin with because they weren't in the industry. Usually young riders like me that started really young and stuff get involved because of their parents. This is usually an ongoing thing, and it runs in the family. But it was not the case for us, and I see that I was born with something in my blood, that just made me like racing since I was born.
Yes.
But I started when I was 6, and already my dad, pushed me from the beginning. My mom never said no. And we're right now at the point that it's like you say, it's a complete circle of love, but also it's just a circle of passion. Like me, my mom, and my dad, and even my sister that already has a family as well herself, because she's quite a bit older than me. We all share a passion. Like we're so passionate for this, and that's just why we seriously go through anything at this point. And we've gone through a lot, honestly. When I got into the Rookies Cup at the end of 2015. For the 2016 season, we had to move to Spain. So that was a really, really big change for us. Even though it was a dream come true for me to get selected for the Rookies Cup, right. It was also, a moment of recognition of, okay, we're going to have to do a lot. Like we knew we weren't going to be able to afford racing in Europe with the Rookies Cup while living here in South Florida where I live. And my parents literally said, all right, that means we're going to have to live in Spain. We're going to do whatever it takes. And I'm telling you, it was 6 months of a lot of grinding, and it was not easy. I was 13, so I was, I guess, not as aware as I am now, but it was still enough for me to really realize what was going on, what they were really doing. And it was like every day was something. Every day there was We had to, get our house rented out. My dad owned a body shop that he had to sell. He had to sell all the cars that he was working with. My mom had to let go of her job here. Uh, we had to literally pack everything up. I had to sell all my training bikes. We had to go to Spain, which we knew only a handful of people in Spain. But luckily, those people that did know us were lifesavers. They helped us out. We were able to move at the beginning of 2016. We had to stay at friends' houses in a little room, the three of us, for 2 months before we actually found a house. And then we just slowly started building, But it was 6 months of a lot of struggles, but it just shows that they seriously went through whatever it took. They did not stop for anything, and money was always a little bit of an issue.
Right.
It was never
Right.
never easy, but it didn't matter. It was seriously that
Wow.
they selfish. Being selfish was not one of their concerns at all, because they seriously left everything back here just for me to go race in Europe.
To
And at
live
the
your
end of the day,
dream.
for me to go race in Europe without knowing the outcome, because the Rookies Cup is a 1 year deal. It's a 1 year
Wow.
deal without knowing if you get selected for a second year. Like at the end of 2016, they could have
Yeah.
easily said, "Okay, thanks for your year, go back home."
Yeah.
But my parents didn't know, but they did it anyways, And luckily, everything went well. I guess I showed enough for the Rookies Cup to choose me for a second year,
Yes.
and even for a third year, as you know,
Yeah.
third year in 2018. But even like that, my mom and dad, we both went 2016. But when I got chosen for the second year, things were obviously a little bit even tighter at the end of the year in terms of money financially. So my
Uh-huh.
mom actually had to come back to the States to work again. So that means
Wow.
that my family and I were like pretty much separated for half the year. So
Mm-hmm.
that was, really tough on my mom, really tough on me not being able to see her for pretty much the whole season. My
And you're
dad
a
staying
teenager
away.
too.
I was a teen.
Yeah.
I was 14 years old. Yeah. So it was.
14 in another country away from your mom.
Yeah, yeah. And
Wow, brother.
and also, I had changed from being in normal school to going to online school. So that was a really, really big change for me. And uh but at the end of the day, we were chasing what I wanted, what we had dreamed of for so many years, and that's all that mattered, So
That is, man, I never amazed at the stories that come out. I mean, honestly, like yours, the sacrifice your parents made, and for you to stay focused at that age. Like, when did you realize that you had it? Like, like say, you're having a good time. You're like I said, you start at 6 years old racing, and it's fun. But when did you realize? I think I got something here. Like, like I'm maybe a little bit better than that. When did you realize that?
man, it's hard to say, right? Because already getting into the Rookies Cup is a dream, right?
Right.
For thousands of riders, it's an absolute dream to get into that championship. But also, it's such a competitive championship.
Yes, it is.
It like once you're in there, it's a different story, right? Like getting in is already a dream, but once you're inside the bubble, it changes your perspective a bit. And I feel like I I got in very young. I had just turned 13, so I was really young, and I was quite raw when I went into the Rookies Cup, because my
Okay.
background before that wasn't very strong. Compared to other riders that get into the Rookies Cup, like Spaniards, that when they get into the Rookies Cup, some of them are coming from the European Talent Cup. That's already
Yes.
it's already a very high level championship, so they know what
Yeah.
they're getting into. I had no idea what I was getting into. I went in 13 years old, super raw, had never seen a MotoGP race in person, had never seen all these guys in person, had never been on a GP track. It was like had never been on a Moto3 type bike. So everything was a lot of information for me. So
Right.
the first year it wasn't a type of year where it was like realizing of like how good I was. It was more of realizing like how difficult this is. It was honestly really tough mentally for me,
Yes.
especially at such a young age. But
Right.
but that's why I feel so grateful for the Rookies Cup to have given me those 3 years, because I feel like those 3 years is exactly what I needed for me to be able to grow the way I did grow, uh,
Yes.
not only as a rider, not only as a person, but also just mentally, just understanding how it works and how you can really grow through it. I think that's really what marked me and what marks me right now.
Now, when you were in the Red Bull, when that win in the Red Bull Rookies Cup, your rookie year, when did you go? Oh my God! What have I done? I mean, was it when you were on the track and those guys were zooming by you? Was it just the first time out on a practice session? You go, I mean, when was you go? Oh boy, this is gonna be kind of difficult.
It's funny you say that because I had one. Are we allowed to say curse words in here?
Hell yeah, fuck yeah.
So my first oh shit moment, honestly.
That's what I'm talking. That's what I want from you.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
My first oh shit moment was at the test, the first Rookies Cup test, 2016. This was at Jerez. So it was my first time at Jerez, my first time riding the Rookies Cup bike, which is a Moto3 KTM. And fuck, dude, I remember this. you know Raul Fernandez.
Yes. Oh my God, that dude is so talented.
Okay, so he's killing it in Moto3 right now. He hasn't gotten a podium yet, but
it's coming.
He's done 3 pole positions. Like it's coming. He's a very talented guy. I raced with him in the first 2 years of the Rookies Cup. He was in it.
Yeah.
Or just the first one, and then he had left. I don't know. It was something like that. But I for sure raced with him my first year. And I remember I was going into the end of the back straight, so into the hairpin corner at Jerez, which is what corner is that? I forgot what corner it's called.
Oh, I know it too. I've been there. I've been in the track, so I know what you're talking about.
Back straight hairpin, so it's very hard braking. And I remember it was my first test, and I'm just tucked in. I'm just going, and I start feeling that someone's coming up to my left, so on the outside line, right? But what am I saying? He wasn't even passing me on the straight yet. I'm just going tucking in. I'm going to the braking zone, and I start braking. And as I start braking, this guy passes me still on the throttle, and he gets on the brake like 5 feet in front of me, with his leg out, with the bike on the curbing, on like kind of like sliding the thing sideways, and I'm just looking at him while I'm on the brake. That's what I have to do. That was the biggest oh shit for 13-year-old Sean, and I said, "Wow."
So Raul Fernandez made you go, oh shit.
Yeah, and I've never told him that story. I never will either. But
I will. I will. When I see him, I'll go, hey, guess.
I'm not gonna tell him that story, but it's different now because last year at the end of the year, I did my Moto2 debut, and he was riding. He was riding because he was in the World Championship, and then there was me doing my Moto2 debut, and I just saw him, and I don't always remember this story, but now that you brought it up, it is funny, that I see him all the time, but he was really one of my first oh shit moments being in the Rookies Cup.
I love Rob. He doesn't speak a lot of English. I mean, I don't think his English is that well, speak that well, but I've always seen him in the Alpine Star. He's always so nice to me. Yeah. And I think that kid, he's like Marc Marquez in the sense of, I remember when Nick Harris said about Marc Marquez, he goes, he was crashing a lot. And he goes, when he gets it down, when he realizes it, then this kid is going to be something special. And I think Raul Fernandez is going to be I think he's going to be the same way. Once he learns, because he's how Moto3 is, man, that first year in. I don't care who you are. That first year Moto3, I mean, that's a street fight. It really is. That's a street fight. You don't know who's going to win. And once he learns, I think Raul Fernandez is going to be a beast. But I remember being in Valencia, and I remember being in a hotel, and I met some guy named Michael Torres, and we talked. And I was like, oh, okay, so you're with Sean Kelly, okay. And I remember looking for you that weekend, but you were so big. I remember being so happy for you because you were in Moto2, and that's like that step before, the dream is realized. I remember being so happy, but that's the one time I didn't see you the entire weekend because, you were busy doing what you had to do, and I realized that, and I was kind of upset, but that's when me and Brandon split a hotel room. Brandon stayed with me for a hotel room, but he told me all about that, and I was so happy for you, man. And I want to ask you, what is it about racing in Europe that is so much their racing is so much more advanced in here? Like, can you, for people who don't race, people like my producer Wyatt, I try to explain motorcycle racing to him. He's a basketball player, so he's not really into real sports, but I try to tell him about what motorcycle racing is and why why racing in Europe, the talent is so much greater than here in America. Why is that?
It's surprising the difference, right? So, honestly, it all starts with how unfortunate that, how the racing is right now in the States, because we know that even though there's MotoAmerica, it has definitely, grown the last few years in the name of MotoAmerica. AMA Superbike used to be something huge
Yes.
20 years ago. You know, it used to be
Yes.
one of the biggest championships of motorcycle racing, period. Um, but you know, right now it's at a different level, and I feel like this all starts from little kids. It all starts with the passion. You know, when you go to Europe and you go to talk to anyone at a bar or at a restaurant, and you ask who Mark Marquez is, everyone knows who he is. You know, if you
Yes.
go here in the U.S. to anyone and ask who Mark Marquez or Valentino Rossi, who's even more famous, who he is, half the people don't know. You know,
Right.
and by
Right.
half that, I'm saying easy numbers. It's 99% of the people don't know who they are because it's
Right.
not something that we grow up with. You know, and at the end of the day, because they grow up with that so much in Europe, it's just part of, it's part of the lifestyle. You know, motorcycle racing over there is something. It's like football here, right? So it's something that if you are born into it, you're gonna grow with it, and that's the case over there in the States. Sorry, in Europe, and that's why
Yeah.
I feel like that's why racing is so big over there, right? Because you start at 3 years old, you're gonna have that many riders, you're gonna have that many bikes, you're gonna have that many championships, and just track availability, right? You know, there's 100% more tracks over there than there is here, and it just grows like that exponentially in so many different directions, right? It's so many
Yeah.
things when it comes to talking about this.
I, that's but that's in a way that's where being in a niche sport in the United States, that's where the advantages are is right now actually being able to talk to you, because if it was like basketball or football, I wouldn't be able to talk to a professional athlete, but the accessibility for people like myself to talk to you guys, whatever, and to see it and being in the paddock and to see that, man, that's what I love about this sport. And so, those guys, he said those guys started 3 years old, 4 years old. But you started what, at 5?
Yeah.
So how did you? And like I said, with your parents not having that background, what was it that made you go, What was your aha moment? Because you're at that age, and like I got a 5-year-old at home, and he's playing with like dinosaurs, and he's doing whatever, just being a kid. But what was it about motorcycles in particular that just made you go, you didn't lose that love, and it just grew into a passion?
Yeah. So honestly, first it started when I was 3 years old, because at 3 years old, I was already riding with no training wheels on a bicycle. And that's already kind of impressive, right? So
No kidding, it is.
I,
Yeah.
I think my parents already there kind of realized that there was something wrong with me. So I think I think that was a good first eye opener for them.
Yeah.
And then when I was 5, I asked them to go ride go-karts. I wasn't old enough to go ride go-karts here locally,
Right.
but surprisingly, there was a little pocket bike at the place where they let me ride.
Yeah.
Don't know how my parents let me ride that day at 5 years old, but I rode. And at that point, I remember my dad asking me after that day riding that little pocket bike. Uh, he just asked. I was still on the bike, and he just looked at me. I don't even know how I remember this. I have bad memory, but I do remember this one little thing. He asked me, "Did you like it?" Yes, of course. And he said, "Okay." And like that was a question that pretty much said, "All right, then that means we need to do the next step, right?" And it was a step by step process. Like from there, uh, my parents actually found a half built bike and ended up fixing it for me, a PW80.
Yes.
And I feel like that's really when it started, right? Because I started at 6 years old with that PW80, and I started doing the local races. And I just started doing pretty well, for being the local races. I started doing podiums, and I started winning the races. And at first, it really started like as a hobby. It just
Right.
started as okay, he likes racing. He's good locally, so let's just keep on going. So I started getting, better fitting helmets, the better stuff, and I slowly started, gaining that experience on the bike. And once I got to 7 years old, I got on a KTM 50 that my dad got for me, and it was really up. The first 5 years is really just a hobby.
Yeah.
An expensive hobby for my parents, unfortunately, but it started like that until we got to, when would I say? So I say really like 2014 going into 2015 was a bit of a stepping year for me, because
Hmm.
even though 2015 I didn't do anything spectacular in terms of what I raced. I raced the KTM 390 Cup in Mexico, so not
Yes.
a not a huge championship, but already making that move of, having to go to Mexico to race and having to do a more professional setup, being in Mexico, they had a pretty nice championship over there with media and stuff. That was a bit of a switch to, okay, we're wasting a bit more money. We're starting to travel, and maybe we should start taking it a bit more seriously, And at
Yeah.
that point, I was training really, really often on mini bikes, and I was uh, pretty much fully dedicated to it. I had actually stopped playing soccer because of that, because being Argentinian boy, being from my parents Argentinian,
Messi.
of course, my mom, hey, long hair playing soccer. I mean, of course, I had to do it, right? So, um, I think I started playing when I was like 6, and by the time I was 10, I told my mom, I said, Mom, like, the soccer practices are the same as they changed like the practice, the sessions or the date,
Yeah.
the schedule,
Yeah.
and it was like the same day, motorcycle or soccer. And I looked at my mom, I'm like, no more soccer. I'm sorry. And that was it. Like from one day to the other, soccer went out, and racing just completely opened the mouth and ate everything. So
Really?
yeah.
Now,
No.
did you have a passion for soccer also at that age though?
So I liked it, and I was pretty good. I wasn't horrible. Like I was actually, well, I got a trophy from it. I got most valuable player trophy when I was 10 because
Oh shit! Look at you trying to be all look at you. Well, I got right. I mean, I'm just saying. I was voted most valuable person to succeed Messi, but I'm just saying, do my thing.
Just say, the only reason I say that is because I suck now. So I try to like.
Oh, whatever. Don't even give me that shit. Don't even give me. Yeah, that's the thing about you, man. You're so nice and everything, but you know good and damn well you probably had a to the Premier League. Probably had a contract to the Premier League at 10 and go. Nah, I'm gonna race these motorcycles. See where this takes me. Don't give me that, man. You probably gonna sign with Arsenal and they go, you want to come here, Mike? And you go, nah, I'm gonna see what this motorcycle thing brings me.
Hey, 100%. I liked it. I don't think I had that much passion for it. I really just did it more
Yeah.
because it was a family thing, and I was all
Right.
right. So I enjoyed doing it. But like I said, once I saw racing was the priority, I did completely went for that. So
Now this may sound like a stupid question, whatever, but what is it about racing that you love? I mean, what is it that you absolutely love? And I know it's not a stupid question, but say for somebody like me, and I'll tell people all the time when I interview, I go, look, I'm a wannabe. I'm the kid on the outside looking in. I mean, I wish I was you. I wish my parents had supported me into that endeavor, and I never did it. So it's like I'm living my youth through you guys. So what is it about racing that you just love? That's in your blood. That you just go, oh, I love this shit.
yeah, so that's not a dumb question at all. It's actually a really good question because it could be like a really deep conversation just by itself, And I think it all starts really that I'm an adrenaline junkie to begin with. So
Yeah.
I go for anything that has adrenaline, and it's not only motorcycle racing. I like everything that has speed. I like everything that involves adrenaline. I love it. I seriously feel that, and I think that's that passion that I have for racing as well, right? That um it's just the adrenaline that goes through you, before racing and before everything. And um honestly, there's also so much more to it, right? That that kind of leads in also into competitiveness. I'm quite the competitive guy, and um, I just like to test myself, right? I feel like that's also why thanks to Michael Torres, as you know, he's my coach, and he's really taught me to kind of love myself as a human, right? To
Yes.
as an athlete, and I love
Yes.
to now push myself and not only physically but also mentally, right? And see like
Right.
that's why I feel like now I feel so strong physically and mentally because of that. That I feel like I've learned to search for my limits, and I've learned to translate that into the race weekends, and into racing. And I feel like that connection for me is something that I can literally live for, right? In my day to day. So um, it's just so much passion for it, and so much love, and uh, so much that goes around it.
Okay. Now, how do you deal with the mental aspect of the racing? Because there's the training, obviously, which is, I mean, the physical part, yeah. I mean, I mean, no offense, I'm sure it's hard to rate, but how do you get to the mental part? Because what I'm trying to get at is, I saw you as, like I said, you went to the Red Bull Rookies Cup that last year. You had a great year. I think you had like 7 or 8 top tens, and then you got, like I said, at 16, you set the pole record in a damn near 80-year race at 16. You come over and then you did the double your rookie year at I think it's Pittsburgh. You did the double. You won, and I mean you're kicking ass. So this year I'm thinking, you know what? You're gonna cakewalk this. And out of nowhere, at least for me, out of nowhere comes this kid, Richy Escalante. And I don't know him, and I'm not throwing shade at either of you at all, but I just go, man, where'd this kid come from? And now we have a championship on our hands. Because I saw you cakewalking this. I said, man, Sean's going to – I thought it was going to be you and Brandon probably. Yeah. And then who is this Richy Escalante? And how are you dealing with that mentally? Because it's a great series, and I see you, I know you, so I see you going 100%, and you guys go back and forth. And then it's like he hits a switch and he's gone. And then you went to Washington and you did your thuggy thizzle in Washington, and you were back. And it's like, how do you deal with that mentally with this kid coming in? Because like I said, I saw you win the championship, and I'm sure mentally, I don't know how you saw it coming into the season. Did you see yourself winning the championship? And now it's like, okay, I'm in a 12-round fight right now, and I don't know where I'm at on the scorecard. So how are you dealing with that mentally?
Yeah, so definitely a tough 2020 season so far. And the truth is, there's other factors on the line that we can't control. And that begins with what we're fighting on, which means what we're racing on, right?
Right.
I'm racing on a Gixxer 600. He's racing on a Kawasaki 636. I hate putting excuses. I hate talking about the bike. I've already talked about it, throughout the season because I've had to because of, the season and stuff. But
right.
At the end of the day, it's the numbers. The numbers don't lie. He's clearly at on a 636 that has more CCs than any other bike on the Supersport grid. And that 636 is illegal in World Supersport for a reason, right? But it's legal in MotoAmerica Supersport because it's MotoAmerica.
Right.
Honestly.
Okay. Well, there you go. There you go. Oh, but okay now. So what do you say? Okay, coming to the grid, you're going to be, you're up against it. Let's put it that way. You're up against it. So what do you? Is it like I got to get this whole shot, or maybe I can rough him up? Not rough him up like give him that little Rossi kick when 215 against Marquez and Sepang, but kind of rough him up to where like I can disturb his rhythm, and hopefully maybe Brandon can disturb his rhythm, and I can eat this victory out.
Yeah, and that's really how it. We have no other option at this point because he's won 11 races. He won the first 6 in a row, I think. And we already knew going into the first round that this same Richy Escalante has been in the super sport class for I think 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Which means he has a lot of experience on a 600, right? A lot of experience on a 600 or whatever you want to call it, on a super sport bike. And honestly, so I have a I have a pretty good relationship with the guy. I take nothing away from him. He's a great rider.
Yeah.
He's a great rider. I give him props, and I have always respected him as a rider all this season long because I definitely know he's a good rider. But last year he was on an R6. He was on a good R6, just like PJ was last year, just like Brandon is this year. And now, last year he hadn't won any race. And now he jumps on a 636, and now he's winning every single race, right?
It's kind of like Barry Bonds when before he got on steroids, allegedly, he was hitting 40, 50 home runs. And then all of a sudden he comes the next year 20 pounds heavier and he's hitting 80 home runs. Like, wow, where did that come from?
Yeah. So it's 100% the package, right? Like Kawasaki just said, okay, we have a 636 that we can run. They got a good team together. They got Graves working with him, and they made the bike work really, really good, and everything helps, So he's got the package that we're trying our absolute best, everything we can. Last weekend at Barber, I rode the fastest a Suzuki has ever gone at Barber ever. But I still got second in both races, and I'm still now point 0.4 off of the new track record, which Richie set on the 636, right?
Oh my God.
So
So how do you deal with that mentally then? How do you, you know?
it's definitely tough, right? It's not, I can't say it's easy. I can't say it's something that I'm, so honestly, I'll restart this. I'm
Okay.
taking this the best way possible, right? And the best way
Right.
possible is to look at what I'm doing. And at the end of the day,
Right.
what I'm doing is I know that I'm giving my 100%.
Yeah.
And if I give my 100%, I'm gonna go to sleep well tonight. That
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to sleep well every single night if I know that I gave my 100%. And at the end of the day, if I know that the guy next to me is on a more powerful bike, then what do I have to stress about, right?
Yeah.
Am
Yeah.
I a little bit frustrated that I feel like the championship, was kind of taken away from me? I wouldn't say taken away, but that I wasn't given a fair chance. Okay, maybe yes. But at the end of the day, I feel like the people that know, they already know this. They know that he's on a 636, and they know that he's on a very competitive bike, and they see that I'm giving everything I can with the machine that I'm on, you know? Uh, and
But it's also not all. But it's not over yet. It's not over yet. Things can happen. It's racing.
100%. At the end, I'm not 100. I'm not 100 points down, right? I'm only 40 points down. There's still 4 races left, so anything can happen. At the bridge at
Anything.
Washington, I was setting a really good pace out up front, and both Brandon and Richie went down behind me. So I gained 25 points just that race alone. So for sure, I'm not giving up. I'm giving my 100%. You saw that, at Barber, I try to rough him up the first few laps as much as I could. Uh,
Yes, you
and
did.
it's fun,
Yes, you did.
I'm happy with that, just knowing that I gave my 100%. And like, for me to walk away saying that, okay, yeah, I only got second, but I really, I ran the fastest Suzuki has ever gone at Barber. I roughed him up for 5 laps, and then he did his thing. That's fine. Like, we're already 70, 80% through the season, and I already know this, right? We already know that he's on what he's on, and it is what it is. We can only do what we can do. But
There,
like
you can only
I said,
control what you can control.
exactly. And I'm still
And
100% motivated. Like, to me, really, how I'm taking it now is like it's like the pig with the carrot in front of him, right? To me, he's he's not even a carrot. He's like a big piece of steak. I love steak, and he's just way out there. So it's 100% what it is, and it's like, I'm also thinking about my future, right? I feel like for my future, winning this championship would be really good for me. Obviously, who wouldn't want a super sport championship? But
right.
I also, I feel like I'm having to push myself so much that this is helping me build as a person, build as
Mentally, it's helping you.
it's totally building. I feel like I'm the strongest I've ever been, physically and mentally, after we started the season. And it's because I have such a hard task to work with, you know?
Yes, because that's helping you knowing what you know. And honestly, we talked about this with Michael, and Michael didn't tell me about the engine, about what Richie's running. But I asked him about that because I asked him about you. I said, "How is Sean dealing with that mentally?" And he goes, "Hey, man, he's giving 100%." And he said almost exactly what you said. He goes, "At the end of the day, if you give 100%, hey, man, you really can't be that disappointed." And now, knowing what I know now I'm like, I get it now. I mean, because there's so much more that people like myself we don't see, and the fact that you said that now, I'm like, oh, but it's also making you ride. I mean, maybe ride above your head, or bringing out a different level in you,
100%.
knowing
And
that.
that's exactly what it is. It's definitely had to bring out. I'm having to, peel off parts of my own skin that I've never even hit, right? And at
Yes.
the end of the day, like, if I wanna dedicate my future to this is the type of season that I need. Because if this would have been an easy season for me, maybe my level wouldn't be as high as it is right now, right?
Yeah.
So 100%, that's what it is, and I'm just looking at it from the positive side.
Dude, I think that is beautiful for you to say, because he said you can only control what you can control. And I just think now that I know that, it's now I really, really, really have this. Now I'm looking at the races different, and now I appreciate what you're doing, dude. 'Cause like you said, You got to rough him up from the beginning, get that whole shot, maybe, and do what Espargo did to Fabio last week when he said in the interview, he goes, I knew it with the Yamaha coming out of the corner, so I just kind of blocked him a little bit so he couldn't get me in the straight. He basically said he was being a dick, is what he said basically he was doing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's what he, in layman's terms, he was being a dick to Fabio and blocking his line, and I thought that was beautiful. But you got to do what you got to do, and it's racing. End of the day, when the visor goes down, it's a race. It's not Facebook. You know, you want friends, you go to Facebook. It's racing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you say, you know, now that you understand what the scenario is, that's all you need to do, right? You just need to understand. Like maybe other people that don't see it as of right now, they're like, okay, you know, Sean, they expected him to go in and you know, completely dominate the super sport, but he's only really, you know, getting a few first places, but mostly second. So they look at it and they're like, what's going on? But now, like, for example, now that you understand what the situation is, you're like, oh, that's different, right? And that's exactly what I had to do at the, you know, the last 2 rounds. I haven't talked about it again because it was time for me to stop talking about it. But the 2 rounds before, I was publicly talking about the situation, right? Publicly talking about we're racing against the 636 and we are on a 600. I had to go out and say that. And of course, there's going to be people that said, like you said, oh, wow, I didn't even know that. And there's people that say, oh, he's a whiner. You know, he's putting excuses. And honestly, I don't care. I know there's always going to be haters. There's always going to be haters that say that. But honestly, the response wasn't too bad. The response was more of people like you saying, oh, I didn't know that. And the main reason I was making it public is because MotoAmerica wasn't making it public. They weren't saying, oh, Richie's on a 636, Sean Dylan Kelly's on a 600, Brandon Patch is on a 600. They weren't even saying it, right? So the people don't know. The people, they watch the races and they just think it's the super sport class like it's always been. But that's not really the case. You know, there's numbers that need to be focused on that haven't been. So I really made it quite public. I got a little bit of hate from it, but the best response was really guys like you that said, oh, wow, okay, thank you for letting us know, you know. And now people look at it from a different way, and I think it's something that, again, I'm not trying to, you know, take anything away from Richy. I think he deserves the respect for being a good rider and being consistent. But it also goes the other way. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. And like I said, I'm glad you cleared that up for me and everybody. I love that you cleared it up for me. You know what I mean? Like you said, I mean, he is a talented rider because you can have those CCs, but if you're not talented enough to win with it, then, I mean, you know, it's just going away. Yeah. So, I mean, good for him. But, and which is going to lead me to this. Have you ever had the red mist? I mean, I always want to know because I know you're a nice guy and everything, but I'm thinking there had to be a time where some rider pissed you off. You go, you know what? I'm going to get you back from there. Because I always tell people, if there's a rivalry in MotoGP, that shit actually started when they were 13 at a track that no one knows about when somebody put somebody in a gravel trap. You put a 13-year-old in a gravel trap, they're going to remember that shit for the rest of their life. So have you ever had the red mist?
Every single race when I have that guy in front of me.
Really? I love it. I love it.
I swear, man. I swear. I'm not even lying. Like, it's been growing every single race. It's been growing on me.
Oh, that is great to hear.
And
I love it.
It's been good. You know, it's been good because this is what I need, you know, for my future. I need that. I need to have that chip in my head. I feel like this is something that I lacked a little bit last year, definitely in the Rookies Cup. I just lacked having that chip of saying, you know, attack. You know, I lacked having that relentless chip in my head. And that's definitely what I built last year, but I kind of established more this year, right? And it's just showing with, you know, with the way I'm racing and the way I'm able to fight against this guy this year. And it makes everything feel better, right? Like I feel like I had so I had 3 wins this year, but Washington, the 2 guys fell behind me, so it's a different feel, right, when the 2 guys crash out. But Atlanta, you know, I think it was the 3rd weekend or 4th weekend of the season, I won against Richy. It was a 2-way battle. We were battling the entire race, and I beat him on the last lap, the last corner.
I remember that.
That was by far, you know, up to that point, the best feeling win I had gotten, because I had beat this guy after he was, you know, unstoppable for 3 weekends. I had beat him on the last lap, on the last corner, on the brakes, and it was awesome, right? But then he went out the next day and he, beat me by 5 seconds. So I kind of finished with this flavor that I didn't like. But then New Jersey, which was now, a week and a half ago, it was just before Barber this weekend. A technical issue on Saturday, and I was barely able to finish in third because of a bike problem. But they figured out the problem for Sunday. My bike was running good again. And on Sunday I go out and it's me, Richie, Brandon, and a couple other guys at the top group, right? And I see Richie go by me, and I didn't give him a shot. I passed him the next corner. One lap later, Richie goes by me. I passed him one corner later. Like I was so dedicated to getting by him at any little moment I could that I was just attacking. I'm 100%. And it was good that that track isn't it wasn't so good for his bike. So he wasn't able to escape, the 12-second like he does at other tracks. But he was still, it was still the small bike differences that I would be faster in some spots, he would be faster in other spots. So it was this good racing going on. And it was good that, Brandon and other guys were able to be involved in the group, because whenever I got by him, it wasn't only me. Brandon could jump in or Almeida or all these guys. So, 2 laps to go at New Jersey, we were still fighting. And that was already, actually he went by with 4 laps remaining at Jersey. He went by on Sunday. And I knew that when it's 4 laps to go, that's usually when he pulls the pin, because since not only is his bike a 636, but he also has electronics. He has traction control, which my Suzuki doesn't have. And
are you serious?
Yeah, so the R6s also come with traction control, but they don't use it on the dry. They only really use it in wet. The Gixxer 600 has no electronics, but the 636 does have electronics, and it seems to be working quite well, because you could hear it. You could literally hear it. So he always has better tire wear than all of us, because he's able to reserve more tires. For whatever reason, you can choose whatever reason you want. He has better tire wear at the end of the race, right? So when it comes 4 laps to go, he gets by me, and I say, okay, I know this guy's gonna want to go, but I'm not gonna let him. Like that was like,
love that.
It was 100%. That was my mentality, and I was able to get him back. The best moves that I've ever done, and it was a clean pass, but it was in a spot that I wasn't even expecting to pass him, and I was able to start the last lap in first and lead the whole race. And he was behind me, but Pash was able to pass him on the last lap as well. So I was able to beat Richie and Brandon, and that was by far up to this point the best race that I've had, because it was just fought the entire race around. I beat that guy on that thing from first lap to last lap, and it felt so good, right? And to me, it's it goes back to thinking about that red mist, right? I find it incredible that even like this last weekend, right? Like knowing that last weekend at Barber, he had a half a second advantage on me pretty much all weekend. All weekend. From first session to qualifying 1 to qualifying 2, he always had this half a second advantage. And it was, from one side, I'm like, okay, he's half a second advantage, but I knew that I was going a second and a half faster than I had last year. So I knew that I was doing my job. I was happy with what I was doing, but him, right? But I still went into the first race with my mentality of, I don't care what I'm going to do. I'm going to bother him. I'm going to make him uncomfortable, right? And that's exactly what I did. I was only able to do it for 5 laps of the 19, but that was my mission was accomplished, right? My mission on Barber was to go faster than I did last year and to play with him. And I did it. I did that, and I put 5 laps, and I did some pretty good passes. So that to me is like, that's just what I go out to every single race, even though I'm going to know then he's going to, gap me by 8 seconds or whatever it is, but whatever. I'm already living with that. I know it's going to, I know that's not something that I could do. That's not something that I can, it's not something I can control, right? Yeah. The fact that he has what he has and that he can gap me. But I know that I can bother him the first 5 laps, I will. And that's it, right? That's my mentality. And I feel like I'm very happy about that. I'm very, I don't want to sound cocky, but I'm proud of myself to be able to be, you know, mentally at that spot that I don't get down after something like that, right? I feel like I'm still building.
That's beautiful, man. That's what I wanted to hear. That's what I've always wanted to know, the mind of a champion. And that's what you, and I love that, man, because, you know, it's like everybody sees the smiles and after the race and shaking hands. But I love to see that, like you said, I don't care if it sounds cocky. I knew what I had to do when I did it. Because, hey, like I said, you want friends, you go to Facebook. Once that visor goes down, man, it's every person for themselves. Exactly. And I think that's beautiful, man. I love the way you threw it down for all of us, because that's what you got to do. To be a champion, you got to do things like that. You got to be uncomfortable. You got things you don't want to do when you did it. So good for you. You know, I'm always going to root for you, bro. I mean, honestly, from the moment we first met, I was like, I love this kid. And I knew I was talking to somebody else, and I can't remember her name, but I remember she was telling me, she goes, you know, we're talking about you. And and I was in Coda at the time. We were talking about you, and I go, don't you just love Sean Kelly? And she goes, you know what? They were digging in, like, I think, where the crews discard their old race tires, and you guys were getting those out of the trash or whatever and using them. And I was like, really? Go, yeah. And that's why, like, when you see somebody like yourself and where you are now, it just, man, I mean, like I said, I watched the Red Bull Rookies Cup for you, and like I said, that was murderer's row, because, correct me if I'm wrong, you had the Anshu brothers in that, didn't you?
Yeah, so I qualified front row. It was Chan Onku first, Dennis Onku second, and I qualified third.
Those crazy ass Turk brother, man. And the funny thing about it, they're twins, but one of them is substantially bigger than the other one. Yeah. It's like, how does that work out? They're twins, but
but they're not twins.
yeah. One of them is big as me, and the other one looks like the other one needs a booster seat. I mean, how is that possible?
Yeah, big time.
They're twins.
Yeah.
But they're good. They're talented. They're good. But let me tell you what, before we get out of here, man, because I got the thing to wrap it up. I could talk to you all day, Sean. But first of all, I want to say, man, I'm so, like I said, so happy for you. And first of all, thanks for doing this for me. But I'm so, like I said, now knowing what I know now, I mean, I was already rooting for you in the first place, so that was a given. Yeah. But now that I know, now I'm really like, oh, take it to him. And I have nothing against Rich. Don't get me wrong. I don't even know the guy. Of course. But you know, I'm just like, now I'm like, come on, Sean. So, and I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. What is the overall goal? 5 years from now, where is Sean Kelly? 5 years from now, where is Sean Kelly? And don't hold back. I don't care if it sounds cocky. 5 years from now, where are you at?
MotoGP. That's 100% what I've been working for since day one. That's the ultimate dream for me, and we're still working really, really that, right? So I feel like I'm headed in the right direction. I'm not 100% sure of what I'm doing next year yet, but I think it's looking. Wow. I think it's looking good. And I'm just, you know, at the end of the day, MotoGP World Championship is the goal. To be world champion is the dream, and I'm gonna do everything I can to get there, and that's it.
Oh, that hits me. That hits me in the feels, brother. I mean that, because I know you're gonna do that. You know what I mean? Like, you got a great team. You got, first of all, you got the love of the family, and that helps. You just explained that. So that right there, that settles your mind. And then you got a great coach in Michael. So, man, you've got it all, bro. Like I said, man, you got the whole world in your hands, brother. You got the Hollywood looks. You got the great smile. And you finally cut your hair. I mean, you've got everything, brother.
Your level.
And you got the talent. Say what now?
I said I'm not at your level when it comes to the hair yet, but we'll see.
Oh, look at him throwing shade, that motherfucker.
Yeah,
I mean, nice he talks about. Man, that was a good one, Sean. I like that, brother. Yeah, when you if you get time and come to Indy early, let's go race go-karts, and I'll show you how it's done. We'll go race. If you come to Indy early.
All right. Okay. Let's try and organize that.
Let's do that, bro. You organize. I'm ready. I ain't doing nothing. I ain't working. I ain't doing nothing, man. So yeah, let's do that, man. Right. So, man, I want to say thank you so much for spending time with me. I know, like, you know, your schedule's busy. Are you still in school, by the way? Are you still in school? Or are you out?
So I finished high school, but I'm doing college courses.
Oh my God! Why? You're gonna be a GP star. You can read and write. I mean, honestly, once you're around a motorcycle, it's a cakewalk. Education's overrated. Education's overrated.
Hustling, man. There's always gonna be another way, a better way. So
Look at this guy. Look at if you run for public office, I am voting for you, and I mean that. This guy, you hear him? This is what I'm talking about. I mean, first of all, I hang out with Brandon Posh. He introduced me to Little Baby. I don't know who Little Baby was until we got in the car. He's blacker than me. I'm like, who's this guy, Little Baby? And so, seriously, Brandon was so black. I said, hey man, if we get pulled over by the cops, let me do the talking. That's how black Brandon is.
Dude, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard of Brandon.
It really is.
So
Man, I'm
true.
going,
That's the
who's
best
this?
part. That is so true. That's fucking hilarious, dude.
That is. Brandon, man, we had the greatest time in Valencia. I'll tell you stories out there. We had the greatest time in Valencia. And so, man, yeah. So I wish you nothing but the best, bro. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Kick ass. Always going to be in your corner. Sean Dillon Kelly. Follow on Instagram. At, what's your Instagram? The official title for Instagram?
At Sean Dillon Kelly.
At Sean Dillon Kelly. He's a champion through and through. He's going to be the Super Sport champion. Thank you so much, Sean. I appreciate you, brother. Get your schoolwork done. Get your training done. And one of these days, I'm going to kick your ass some go-karts when you come to Indianapolis. All right, buddy?
I don't know about the kick-ass part, but we'll see. Thank you, PT.
I love it.
Thanks for
love it. I'll give you the red mist.
You know it. It's building all the time. Thanks.
All right, man. Take it easy, buddy. Thank you so much. And like we said, like this time, always on Tales from a Gen 9 BT. Bye.